Saturday Night Live has been making late-night audiences laugh for 50 seasons now. In this special video, we at Legacy.com pay tribute to 50 of the most unforgettable cast, crew, hosts, and guest stars who have died since becoming part of SNL's history. Legacy.com is where you can find any obituary or publish an obituary in any newspaper in America and beyond. When Saturday Night Live debuted in October 1975, Michael O'Donoghue was its original head writer. He was also the very first face to appear on screen in the very first episode's cold open, just a few seconds before John Belushi walked on stage to join him. O'Donoghue died of a cerebral hemorrhage on November 8, 1994. John Belushi was one of the original SNL cast who, right from the beginning, set the scene for the show's entire history. His 4 seasons of intense comedy launched him to major Hollywood stardom in hit films like Animal House and The Blues Brothers. Belushi died of a drug overdose on March 5, 1982. Announcer Don Pardo was also there for the very first episode of SNL, and we heard his voice on almost every episode for the next 38 years. He introduced the show and its cast every week until his death at 96. Pardo died in his sleep on August 18, 2014. Legendary comedian George Carlin was the host of SNL's first episode, delivering several stand-up routines and establishing the show's enduring tradition of a guest host. He hosted again in 1984, including a one-episode stint as the anchor of the show's news segment. Carlin died of a heart attack on June 22, 2008. When George Carlin hosted that first episode of SNL, Billy Preston was one of 2 musical guests. The R&B great gave us the first ever musical performance on the show with his hit song Nothing from Nothing, and he later played Fancy Lady. Preston died of kidney failure on June 6, 2006. Gilda Radner was one of SNL's original cast members, and she portrayed some of the most hilarious characters of its first 5 seasons. Roseanne, Baba Wawa, and Emily Litella were among her most memorable personas. Radner died of ovarian cancer on May 20, 1989. Avant-garde comedian Andy Kaufman was never a full cast member, but beginning with his debut as a special guest in the very first episode, he was as vital as any player in the first 5 years. Breaking character and apologizing to the audience for the Elvis sketch he was in remains one of SNL's most memorable moments. Kaufman died May 16, 1984, of lung cancer. George Coe had one of the shortest tenures in SNL history, but it was still a historic one. He was only credited as a regular cast member in the first episode, but he continued to make occasional appearances through the early years, filling out the young company when sketches called for a more mature actor. Coe died July 18, 2015. Herb Sargent is an example of making comedy history from behind the scenes. The writer and producer helped shape SNL for decades to come when he and Chevy Chase co-created the now iconic Weekend Update news segment. Sargent died of a heart attack on May 6, 2005. Ann Beatts was another of the show's original writers, and she pioneered SNL's parodies of commercials, sometimes appearing on screen as well as writing them. She also created sketches like the Nerds series with Gilda Radner and Bill Murray as Lisa Loopner and Todd DeLaMucca. Beatts died April 7, 2021. In 1975, puppeteer Jim Henson had already established his Muppets on Sesame Street, but the brand new SNL was a chance to reach a more adult audience. The whole first season of SNL featured Muppet sketches, before Henson went on to launch his own series, The Muppet Show. He died of complications from a strep infection May 16, 1990. SNL fans may never have seen Franne Lee's face, but they know the original costume designer's work well. She created the iconic costumes for the Coneheads and Killer Bees, and she dressed the Blues Brothers and the Wild and Crazy Guys. Lee died after a short illness on August 27, 2023. Richard Pryor was the edgiest comedian of the 1970s, and when he hosted SNL's 7th episode, it brought the new series some major youth cred. His sketch with Chevy Chase, called Word Association, is still cited as one of SNL's most explosive moments. Pryor died of a heart attack December 10, 2005. Buck Henry was the very first member of SNL's Five Timers Club. He hosted 5 times in the first 3 seasons alone. The longtime friend of the show returned over and over for a total of 10 appearances as host between 1975 and 1980. Henry died of a heart attack on January 8, 2020. TV star and bandleader Desi Arnaz only appeared on SNL once, but it was an episode to remember. Not only was he the musical guest, he was also the host, and he closed out the show by leading the cast in a joyful conga line through the audience. Arnaz died of lung cancer December 2, 1986. Madeline Kahn's 1970s comedy resume is second to no one's, so it's no surprise that the Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein star ended up on SNL. She hosted in 1976 and 1977 before making one last appearance in 1995. Kahn died December 3, 1999 of ovarian cancer. Gritty-voiced blues rock singer Joe Cocker was such a musical icon of the 1970s that John Belushi's SNL impression of him was one of the show's biggest early hits. Cocker himself came on in Season 2, performing side-by-side with Belushi in identical outfits. Cocker died of lung cancer December 22, 2014. When George Harrison performed on SNL in Season 2, it was a major coup. The show was successful enough to get a Beatle. It turned out to be a unique and unforgettable musical moment, as Harrison duetted with none other than Paul Simon on both men's great songs. Harrison died of lung cancer November 29, 2001. Frank Zappa's first SNL appearance in Season 2 featured 3 fantastic musical performances. His second, as host in Season 4, got him a lifetime ban from the show, in part because he made sure the audience knew he was reading from cue cards. Zappa died of prostate cancer December 4, 1993. Without Tom Davis, Al Franken's comedy star may not have shone as bright. The pair were longtime comedy partners, with Davis making his own mark on SNL as a writer from 1975 to 1995 and a cast member from 1977 to 1980. He died July 19, 2012 of throat cancer. Ray Charles, one of the greatest American musicians of the 20th century, served as both host and musical guest one November night in 1977. He went on to appear alongside SNL stars John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd in their 1980 classic The Blues Brothers. Charles died of complications from liver failure on June 10, 2004. Carrie Fisher hosted SNL just once, in Season 4, the day after she appeared in the Star Wars Holiday Special. But she's indelibly associated with one of the greatest classic sketches, The Blues Brothers, thanks to her role in the movie version as an ex-fiancé bent on revenge. Fisher died of cardiac arrest December 27, 2016. Though his brother is more closely associated with SNL, Peter Aykroyd left his own mark on the legendary sketch show. He was a cast member and writer in the 1979-1980 season, sharing in the Emmy nomination the staff earned that year. Peter Aykroyd died November 6, 2021 of sepsis. It wouldn't be Saturday Night Live without the jaunty saxophone in the opening credits. In Seasons 5 and 6, that sax was Grammy Award-winning jazz superstar David Sanborn. renowned for his work alongside Stevie Wonder, David Bowie, Eric Clapton, and many more. Sanborn died of prostate cancer May 12, 2024. Not many musicians have played the SNL stage more often than Tom Petty. He was the musical guest 8 times between 1979 and 2010. David Spade impersonated him several times on the show, including once when Spade sang "I Need to Know" while Petty backed him on guitar. Petty died of an accidental drug overdose October 1, 2017. You knew him as Dr. Johnny Fever from WKRP in Cincinnati, but Howard Hessman's comedy chops helped lift Saturday Night Live, too. As a 3-time host, he paid tribute to the recently deceased John Belushi in his 1982 appearance. Hessman died January 22, 2022 from surgery complications. When David Bowie made his first of 4 appearances as a musical guest in 1979, he was already a superstar with nothing to prove. However, playing it safe wasn't Bowie's style, so he put on a mesmerizing show anyway, shifting away from his Ziggy Stardust character to something darker and mysterious. Bowie died January 10, 2016 of liver cancer. Bob Newhart hosted SNL twice in seasons 5 and 20, and his second appearance included a classic sketch written by his longtime fan Norm Macdonald. Newhart played a postal worker giving an employee evaluation, and he loved the sketch so much that he added it to his stand-up act. Newhart died July 18, 2024. When Aretha Franklin first performed on SNL, it was 1980, the same year she stole the show as a singing waitress in the Blues Brothers movie. The Queen of Soul returned in season 19 as musical guest, and she appeared in a sketch alongside Ellen Cleghorn. Franklin died of pancreatic neuroendocrine cancer August 16, 2018. After creator Lorne Michaels and the entire cast left SNL in 1980, most of their replacements only lasted a single season. One of those, comedian Gilbert Gottfried, would find fame years later as the voice of Iago the Parrot in Disney's Aladdin and the long-running host of USA Up All Night. Gottfried died of ventricular tachycardia April 12, 2022. Charles Rocket, another of the new 1980 cast, infamously uttered the F-word live on air, prompting NBC to pause the series before rebooting it for the second time in a year. Rocket went on to act in a wide range of films and TV shows, including Moonlighting, Hocus Pocus, and Dumb and Dumber. He died by apparent suicide October 7, 2005. Prince was only 22 years old the first time he played Saturday Night Live in 1981, but his high-energy performance of Party Up left a powerful impression. He guested 3 more times over the next 3 decades, including the show's 15th anniversary special. Prince died of an accidental overdose of painkillers April 21, 2016. When Saturday Night Live was experiencing some growing pains, Tony Rosato was among those who held down the fort. Already a veteran of the sketch show SCTV, he became a cast member for 20 episodes in 1981 and 1982. Rosato died of a heart attack on January 10, 2017. Without Bob Tischler, Saturday Night Live may not have survived. He was head writer from 1981 to 1985, championing its rising star Eddie Murphy and helping reverse a sharp creative decline that almost tanked the show. Tischler died of pancreatic cancer on April 11, 2024. Hal Willner joined the SNL behind-the-scenes crew in 1980 as the show's sketch music producer. For the next 4 decades, he chose the music we heard in the background of sketches, always picking the perfect score and usually doing it with just hours before airtime. Willner died of suspected COVID-19 April 7, 2020. Music performances have always been part of what has helped SNL endure, and in the 1980s, few music stars shone brighter than Tina Turner. The What's Love Got to Do With It singer appeared with Rod Stewart in 1981, then took the spotlight in solo 1985 and 1997 performances. Turner died May 24, 2023, after a long illness. The one and only time that Queen played SNL in 1983, singer Freddie Mercury had just strained his voice, but still delivered fantastic renditions of the songs Under Pressure and Crazy Little Thing Called Love. It was his very last U.S. performance with Queen. Mercury died of bronchial pneumonia from AIDS, November 24, 1991. Brandon Tartikoff, the president of NBC's entertainment division throughout the 1980s, was a big supporter and fan of Saturday Night Live. When the show invited him to host the 1983 season premiere, it was one of the most exciting moments of his career. Tartikoff died of Hodgkin lymphoma August 27, 1997. One of the greatest comedians of a generation, Robin Williams hosted SNL 3 times between 1984 and 1988, delighting the studio audience with high-speed monologues. He also appeared in surprise cameos several times, the last time in 2010. Williams died by suicide while suffering from Lewy body dementia August 11, 2014. When Danitra Vance joined the cast in 1985, the Second City veteran helped pave the way for what would become increasingly diverse casts over the years. She was the first Black woman to be part of the main cast and one of its first LGBTQ performers. Vance died August 21, 1994, from breast cancer. When Lorne Michaels returned as showrunner after a 5-year hiatus, he put his focus on rising young actors over comedians, leaving funny men like Dan Vitale in a supporting role. Despite Vitale's short tenure, he shared the screen with icons like Madonna and Chevy Chase, cementing his place in show history. Vitale died May 6, 2023. When Paul Reubens hosted SNL in 1985, it was only 5 years since he had auditioned unsuccessfully to join the cast. Now, he was the star of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, co-written by one future SNL performer, Phil Hartman, and featuring another, Jan Hooks. Reubens died of complications from cancer July 30, 2023. Sam Kinison's in-your-face approach to laughs made him one of the 1980s biggest comedy stars, so it's no surprise he was a regular on SNL. He was a 5-time special guest throughout 1985 and 1986, culminating in his memorable turn as host in November 1986. Kinison died in an auto accident on April 10, 1992. At the top of many lists of all-time best SNL cast members is Phil Hartman. Over his 8 seasons on the show, he perfected impressions of Bill Clinton, Ed McMahon, Frank Sinatra, and many more, and he embodied characters like Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer and the Anal Retentive Chef. Hartman was murdered May 28, 1998. When SNL was floundering after the failure of the 1985-86 season, Jan Hooks joined a new cast stacked with future stars like Dana Carvey, Phil Hartman, and Victoria Jackson. Hooks helped define the show's late 80s renaissance with hilarious portrayals of Nancy Reagan, Tammy Faye Baker, and others. She died of throat cancer October 9, 2014. Saturday Night Live is known for creating comedy legends, and few loom larger than the beloved Chris Farley. His 5 seasons on the show featured insane hijinks, manic energy, and memorable characters like motivational speaker Matt Foley, making him one of the show's greatest icons. Farley died after a drug overdose December 18, 1997. Saturday Night was never more live than Sinead O'Connor's haunting 1992 cover of Bob Marley's song War, with new lyrics protesting sexual abuse. As the song ended, O'Connor used her camera close-up to rip up a photograph of the Pope, sparking one of SNL's biggest controversies ever. O'Connor died of COPD and asthma July 26, 2023. Norm Macdonald's deadpan delivery was perfect for his 3-year stint as anchor of Weekend Update, until an NBC executive who didn't appreciate his sense of humor had him dismissed. His Burt Reynolds impression in the Celebrity Jeopardy sketch was one of the show's all-time funniest. Macdonald died of acute leukemia September 14, 2021. Beloved Jeopardy host Alex Trebek never actually hosted SNL, but he loved the Celebrity Jeopardy sketches in which Will Ferrell portrayed him. In fact, he was such a fan of the long-running sketch that he showed up for a cameo appearance alongside Ferrell in season 27. Trebek died of pancreatic cancer November 8, 2020. Betty White turned down 3 invitations to host SNL before a viral Facebook campaign in 2010 finally convinced her to do it. At age 88, she was the show's oldest host ever, and she nailed it in sketches like The Delicious Dish, sharing her giant dusty muffin. White died of a stroke December 31, 2021. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. At Legacy.com, any family can publish an obituary in honor of a loved one's memory, online and in local newspapers everywhere. Just visit Legacy.com and select your local community. You can also follow Legacy.com on Facebook and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.